Good evening, everyone. My name is Paul Young. I'm just going to walk you through government policies to give you a view of what's happening in Latin America. I've done an earlier presentation of Venezuela in terms of what's going on in terms of the economic collapse, but I wanted to also address other key countries because they're key players in the Latin America economy, but they're also key players in terms of influence, possibly global growth and other factors that might drive overall impacts to economies around the world. So it's critical to understand what's happening in various countries to get a bigger picture of what's going to happen as countries move forward with various policies. Now, my view is one perspective. It's not deemed to be the only perspective, but you're more apt to go out and look at what IMF says, banks in Bank of Nova Scotia in Canada, to give you an idea of what's going on in these various economies in terms of government policies, inflation, currency rates, exports, GDP growth, foreign direct investment, to give you a complete picture of what's going on. I tend to take an approach, this is a little bit of my bio here, is because I come from an area where I taught in academia. I also spent about 15 years in industry. In the last 12 years I've been in financial solutions. So I'm looking at solutions, but I'm also looking at how governments operate in their own local conditions as well as how they deal with global pressures. My agenda will talk about the new government that's in Argentina. I'll talk about GDP, and I'll get into specifics on government policy. I'll talk a bit about the banking sector, and I'll talk about government corruption as well. Now, there's significant changes happening in Argentina. They have elected a new president named Macri. He basically has moved forward with a pro-agenda to bring in foreign direct investment to open the markets up. He wants to show that the world that Argentina is open for business. So he's embarking on a bunch of different reforms to clean up how government operates in Argentina. So suspicions are he's going to look at everything from the banking sector to taxation policies to any sort of things around foreign direct investment as part of moving the reforms forward. He wants to grow the economy in Argentina, so he's pro about the economy. So he's a government official that's basically looking at how best to move the economy forward. Now, if you look at what's happening in Argentina right now, Argentina has peaked in about 2013 a GDP of 614 billion. They've shrunk, and they're on path to shrink again this year. Now, part of the aspect that you have to look at it is the dynamics of their market. Okay, inflation itself has gone from about 15% up to 35% within 1 year. That's one key driver. Second driver that's coming into play is you've got a recession in Brazil. You've got economy collapse in Venezuela. All these things impact because Argentina deals directly with countries like Chile, Brazil, as well as Venezuela, so the chances are for their exports going out are going to shrink. Plus, with inflation being the way it is, it's going to shrink consumer spending within that country. This kind of gives you an idea of the largest trading partners in terms of what they do in terms of exports. It gives you the idea that Brazil's the biggest destination, and as I said before, Brazil's in a recession, so it's something you need to watch and to play. Also, we're also seeing key issues with Chile. Chile's growing at marginal growth. The commodity prices, which Chile drives from on the copper side, has dropped significantly. We're almost like 50-60% off where we were maybe 4 years ago, and it's something to bear in mind as well. Now, like anything else, government policies are going to drive things. If you look at foreign direct investment and you take it back a couple years when they had a different government in play, we saw basically investment went from 109 to 82 billion. The new prime minister, president, is actually looking to bring more foreign direct investment in, especially in the mining sector, the ag sector, maybe some of the offshore interest in oil and gas sectors, to bring that into play. Lithium is a key area that I've highlighted there because that's an area that Argentina is on the cusp of being a global leader in lithium. Why do I ask? Lithium? Well, lithium drives clean technology, so it's an area to fall in place. The other thing the president's going to have to deal with is inflation. He's on a pact to bring the inflation back down because inflation is basically doubled within 1 year, and that's critical in terms of the cost of living and the cost of goods that Argentina has to deal with. It's very expensive to live there, so it's something to bear in mind. Tax policies. I would suspect down the road that the new Prime Minister President will actually reform corporate tax rates from 35% to make them competitive. He may look at consumption taxes as well as part of the overall reforms. The banking sector, he's opening it up for mergers and acquisitions. He's opening it up for more loan agreements and revolving credit. And the potential now is they're going to settle up their debt issue with the U.S. So the whole banking sector will actually see some transformation. We can't talk about a country like Argentina unless we talk about government corruption. In particular case, they are saying that in general, corruption cost the economy about 6.2 billion over a period of 23 years. So almost 500 million, you're talking a period, right? So that's significantly. So what they're trying to do with the new policies and reforms is clean that up. They're trying to get better control of that because that drives foreign direct investment. It drives the flow of goods. They want to make sure that the cost of goods benefits the Argentinian population, not just a few individuals. And I think you're going to likely see with the new president, you're going to actually see reforms come in that he's going to try to clean this up. How deep the corruption is, I'm not sure, but it's an area that he's going to put some focus on. I brought Canada and Argentina in because we do trade here. It's small, but it's an area to understand that could grow in importance, especially with a president that's looking at free market reforms. Energy is a key market for Canada to look for other aspects. Argentina, if we can get a FIPA in there, a proper trade agreement in, we may be able to expand oil and gas sector products down into Argentina. We can also look at other aspects of aerospace, maybe even pharmaceutical, to expand into that marketplace. So trade becomes critical as we move forward. When you see countries like Argentina going through reforms, we should be partnering with these countries to help grow their economy and support our exports, but also provide business opportunity to expand in countries like Argentina. So that's what the slide deck was kind of shows you with this particular slide to give you an idea what's going on. Now, most of you will want to do a lot of research on this. We are in a period of slow economic growth, but it's very critical to understand how other countries operate and the role of Canada plays in the global marketplace in terms of helping expand business opportunities for business, but also working with countries as part of reforms. Canada can offer a lot to different countries like Argentina to kind of provide not just the trade, but also the knowledge and expertise in the banking sector. It can also talk about tax reforms. It can also talk about expanding different aspects in the economy for like in the mining sector. So there's a key place where Canada can play in this. It's going to be up to the government in charge to kind of look at how it's going to support business investment to become more of a pro global trade, because it's going to be exports that drives the economy in Canada, and it's very critical to understand where we can get some upticks to expand export opportunities for Canadian business in other countries like Argentina. Thank you.